Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel, my friends. Today it's time for a little Saturday morning React-TOONS. And what are we watching today? We're watching Robotech Season 1, Episode 6, Blitzkrieg. Again, I want to see the action pick up in a positive way for the SDF-1. I give Captain Global a ton of lip service in the negative variety because I really like the character, and I would really like to see him get a W that doesn't result in massive collateral damage for everybody. He deserves better, my friends. So let us focus our ire on the writers and make sure that they provide the appropriate heroic responses for these great characters. My friends, if you could do me a favor, hit that like button, smash that subscribe, and ring-a-ding-ding that bell for notifications, and you'll be alerted next time we go live here on YouTube with Robotech or Star Trek Lower Decks, the original series, The Expanse, anything and everything that we go live with, you will be notified, my friends. And of course, if you want any of those adventures early or in their full-length format, the link to the Patreon is in the description. But my friends, there is nothing to it but to do it here on this Saturday morning React-TOONS, so it's time to engage maximum warp reaction as we watch Robotech Season 1, Episode 6, Blitzkrieg. And away we go. Fanfare. Now, I was told that Blitzkrieg and the one after this, which is Bye Bye Mars, I believe, are supposed to be two very good episodes. So I've enjoyed them all so far. Honestly, strangely enough, I think The Long Wait might be my favorite one because it was so unexpected and it was a great use of transitional time. I thought it was a really cool kind of little device they used. But I'm ready to see some Veritech fighting. We haven't seen any for a while. I mean, heck, the escape from Macross Island or whatever we want to call it. Oh, excuse me. It's the last time we really saw some heavy combat. Because the last time when the SDF-1 fired its main gun, like it's the one right here, it was, you know, basically taking damage and then one massive delivery of damage, and that was it. Let's see some dog fighting. That's what I want.
2 months have passed since a fold operation transported the...
2 months?
While attempting to return to Earth, the Space Fortress repulsed an attack by the pursuing Zentradi forces by undergoing a modular transformation. But in the intervening months, the damage has been repaired and things have returned to normal.
Amazing.
Rick Hunter, Robotech Defense Force's newest recruit, has been working hard.
Way to go, Rick.
Training to toughen him up on the ground and in space.
Nice. Rick needs a little toughening up.
His basic training complete, Rick looks forward to his first leave.
So Rick's flying one of the brown ones, which is like the foot soldier ones.
Please, Rick, stop just a minute. Ooh.
Huh?
Also, Rick and Minmay are together.
I promise we'll only be a second.
What? Oh, I can't go in there.
What else did you have in mind?
I'm not getting into like manufacturing or where all this clothing is coming from. I'm accepting it. And it's a cartoon. I would much rather enjoy the story. Oh, there's a lot of goods.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. Do you have a selection of lingerie?
Of course we do. Step right over there.
Dear God, okay. That's the bridge crew.
I think this'll do. Maybe for you.
What is that? Sammy, Kim, and Lisa. Lisa, gosh.
But of course, ladies, it'll be my pleasure.
Wow.
Kim's without glasses, Vanessa's with glasses, right?
That's a great outfit, all right.
Uh-oh. Rick flustered. Who would have thought?
Oh, so this is what you were talking about, Dr. Lang. That's right, Captain. I've never seen another reaction like it.
Dr. Lang is the... He spoke with him last episode.
Perhaps when the fold system disappeared, the space-time fabric was distorted. This could be the result.
So you got like a singularity in your engine room?
Captain? It's only a theory, of course, but I think we may be able to utilize this strange reaction as some kind of protective barrier. Barrier, huh? Can you develop?
Wow. You figured a way to have like a force field? Nice work, Dr. Lang. Put Dr. Lang in charge of everything.
Well, have you found an answer?
It's Exodor's the redhead, right?
A structural modification of this nature will most assuredly diminish the gravity control forces to practically nil. Of this I am certain.
Playback No, let it continue a little longer.
Oh, cool. I didn't notice they have like console operators underneath them in that stage. That's cool.
I'll let them attempt their clever little plan. We'll follow them. As they would say, it'll be like shooting fish in a barrel, whatever that means.
So they are traveling in like robot mode with the SDF-1.
Attention!
Good afternoon.
You little devil, I didn't know you knew Commander Hayes.
Yeah, well, kind of. You know what I mean?
It's him! That's Mr. Lingerie! Mr. Lingerie!
I'm Rick Hunter.
Lingerie expert.
I remember now. So that's our civilian pilot. I wondered why he didn't know how to fly his plane.
Hey, Roy, who's the sourpuss?
Uh-oh, sourpuss.
You're that loudmouth pilot, aren't you?
Yes, that's me.
I'd say you'd better watch that mouth from now on, because she's your superior officer.
Oh, by the way, I don't know what your particular problem is, but it really doesn't look too good for you to be hanging around in lingerie shops.
Lecture?
What? Everybody kink shaming. It's the brutal, brutal kink shaming. Rick should have just went with it. I have one vice. I don't drink.
The enemy will be completely unable to track our position, and then we set the trap. So what's our next move?
A Blitzkrieg.
Really? You're going on the attack?
When we leave Saturn, they will still be on our flank, so I would like to find a way out of this trap. You all know how dangerous this will be.
Come on. Let's give Glovo a win here.
Excellent.
Yeah. It's not boding well for...
Tomorrow, the SDF-1 will enter the rings of Saturn. Soon after, the defense forces will initiate a counterattack.
I wonder what all of the different colored outfits mean, if anything.
Oh, and if there's anyone you want to see, do it tonight. That is all.
You may be dead tomorrow night. The implication there is of a terminal nature.
They're shipping us out tomorrow evening.
Oh, Rick, that's just wonderful. I'm so happy for you.
You scared.
Your first mission.
Min-May, this is,
What's wrong?
Nothing much.
just, thinking about dying.
Rick, look.
It's the new dress.
Pretty dress, all right.
I'll have you know that this is the dress we chose together.
Wait a minute, Min-May. You look beautiful.
You gotta notice these things, buddy.
Am I really beautiful?
Sure. Why don't we have our picture taken?
Oh, I'm not pretty enough for that.
Oh, come on, Min-May. Of course you are. Rick's the one that's gonna goof up the picture.
Are you ready yet?
There. Okay.
There you go. Come on, act like you like her, Rick. That's a cool picture. I like that. This is definitely like a wartime type of thing. Picture of your girl, right before a war.
Well, good luck tomorrow and have a good mission, Rick. I'll see you when you get back.
Very like World War II fighter ace type of scenario.
I might not be back.
Yep. I'm going to allow you that one, Rick. Normally you're whiny for the wrong reasons. That is not being whiny. It's being realistic. And I like that. Very good. Very much.
However, there's a problem. We can't cover the entire fortress at any one time. Oh, I see. So we can't cover the whole thing. I guess she's too big.
You can reposition the shields, though.
Our system can still be utilized as an effective countermeasure. In case of enemy attack, these photon barriers can be moved to deflect any incoming lasers.
Nice.
I see. Deflection point control is handled by universal gyros controlled from the bridge. We refer to it as the pinpoint barrier.
Pinpoint barrier. I love it.
Come in.
Hey, I figured you'd be awake.
Hi, Roy.
I like the room.
I know.
I sympathize with you, Rick, but you'll just have to count fan jets or something. Go to sleep. I feel sorry for the poor kid.
Well, then be nicer, Roy.
First combat duty is always the worst. I remember mine. It's tough waiting around, thinking of the battle.
I remember how alone I felt and how I didn't have anybody to talk to. I remember feeling desperate that night before, and if only I had someone to speak with. Come on, Roy. Be the change you want to see in the world, buddy.
Min-May, I can't get to sleep.
Proceeds to fall asleep.
All squadrons will wait in the ice fields until
They're getting ready. Oh, I'm not going to color that in, I guess.
Don't worry, losing a night's sleep won't kill you.
Well, might get you killed, but...
All Nantex report immediately for roll call at Prometheus.
Are they trying to go for like a shadow effect on those vehicles, or is that simply uncolored? It looks uncolored to me.
Reactor control,
Come on, Rick. I'm cheering for you, buddy.
Skull Squadron, commence immediate takeoff.
Nice. Of course, Roy has the badass ship.
Squadron. Veritech Skull Squadron 23. Pilot Rick Hunter prepared for takeoff.
Number 23 for Skull. Now, I do know we have other named people in Skull Squadron. I used to, when I was a kid, I played as Ben Dixon, having no idea who the character was.
But all the other pilots were flying really dangerously, so I thought that...
Shut up, Hunter. You follow your instructions.
Yeah, shut up, Rick.
Look around, wise guy. You're the only one who's flying dangerously.
Roger.
About yes, sir.
This is Skull Leader to all Veritechs. In T-minus 12 seconds, we'll be coming into the shadow zone, so keep one eye on the ice and the other on your gauges.
12 seconds. Cutting a little close there, Roy. In 3 seconds, we'll be going into the... Oh, I'm liking this. Oh, sweet shit.
Skull 23. Your speed seems to be dropping off.
Lisa, don't you have something else to do?
How come I'm the one who's lucky enough to be razzed by some dumb know-it-all?
That's what I'm saying.
Lieutenant Hayes, how much longer will it be before the Veritechs reach their destination?
So is Lisa a lieutenant commander? She's referred to as both. SDF-1 is ready to absolutely wreck face with that main gun of its. That thing is berserk.
Ready for your orders, Commander Green. Captain Zariel, you will
Captain Zariel, you are going to die.
Here they come.
Turdcraft. Oh, that's cool how it went all down to just the running lights.
Okay, let's get them.
Oh, that's awesome. Seeing the running lights before you see the actual ships. That's cool. Really, really cool.
Attacking with such a weak force is completely illogical. They have no idea how to wage war. It's absolutely and totally illogical.
We've said that, Exodor.
as if they don't realize we're holding back nearly all of our forces. I believe the time is excellent to show them just what they're up against.
Come on, give Global a win here. This is Global's plan. Let him commit and then nuke him.
Captain, the enemy vessel is approaching the target zone. Sector 2.
Very good. Raise the ship and prepare to fire the main gun.
There you go, Global. I love it, buddy. Come on. Please, please, no collateral damage.
Now firing main gun.
I tell you what.
I don't understand what's wrong.
Ugh.
Will not fire.
Huh?
In all probabilities, a pinpoint barrier is interfering with the energy transfer.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Over.
Bojamoy.
Yes, my God.
Beam missiles approaching. Pinpoint barrier system control ready.
Global cannot catch a break. Oh, they're playing trackball here. This seems highly inefficient.
I can't move it fast enough. I'll never make it.
You got it. You got it. Just
what do they think they're doing?
they're blocking you, buddy.
No one makes a fool of me.
Except me.
Captain, the blue and green squadrons have been completely destroyed.
Oh my God.
Have taken on extremely heavy casualties.
The skull is our last chance.
All right, Roy. It's up to you, buddy. I always said this war is going to be won in the dogfight. Nice job, Rick.
Captain, do you think it would be possible to somehow concentrate all the pinpoint barrier energy and direct it to the front of the Daedalus?
Yes, it would, but why?
I have an idea, but I don't know if it's feasible or not.
I like it, Lisa.
All right, Kim and Sammy, collect the destroids and place them at the front of the Daedalus.
Right.
Claudia, direct the fortress in a frontal attack.
Come on. Yeah, Lisa, come on. This is what I like. Come on, Rick, come on. Okay, so Rick does have like a white Veritech. I guess like all of the Skull have like white. It's white and red. Okay. Hey, how you doing? Let's let's just everybody just walk away. Oh, is she gonna use it like a punch? Come on, Lisa.
Daedalus, commence firing.
Oh, nice. And so it protects it. You're in deep shit now is what it is. Look at these guys. Wow. Okay, at least Rick didn't have to, like, murder him straight up. You just got to see him obliterated in front of him. You might want to get out of there, Rick. This turd ship is getting flushed. That's a hell of a good idea by Lisa. So, that's another attack, right? That was successful. They lost a lot, but...
Incredible! 3 cheers for Daedalus! I'm getting to be a real fan of yours, Lisa.
You all did great. What do you, I mean, Lisa came up with the idea, but everybody executed it at well. The whole bridge crew. Drinks all around for the bridge crew.
Called in reinforcements.
Yes, come on.
Who you calling in, Britai?
Commander Roy Foker's Skull Squadron would be decorated for their valiant action in battle. However, Rick couldn't erase the memory of the Zentradi soldier's terrified face from his mind.
Yeah, that would be tough.
Rick slowly began to realize that things were changing inside him. He remembered his life up to that point and thought, things certainly have turned out differently for everyone caught up in the interstellar war.
Absolutely. I kind of like that. All right, my friends, we just got done watching Robotech Season 1, Episode 6, Blitzkrieg, and the only thing we have left to do now is to talk about it. All right, my friends, we just got done watching Robotech Season 1, Episode 6, Blitzkrieg. This one was a really good episode. I enjoyed this one a bit. I think I'm finally getting an understanding of what the writers are trying to do. And it was from a lot of the comments that I received that basically said, listen, you know, the SDF-1 was going through a kind of a paces type of, launch. It was designed to launch on the day that we saw the attack so it could work out all of these problems. You know, it wasn't being launched immediately for active service, which I heard but really didn't take with what was being said there. So, you know, it makes sense that there's going to be a lot of untested things that they had planned to test that they would have been able to work through had there not been a war or an attack going on. So, you know, and again, I was really tough on Global in the last episode because I said, you know, it seems like he's overmatched. He's outmatched. He's overwhelmed. He's making the wrong decisions. And again, I'm not looking at it because Global being the person that makes the decisions and is in command, he has to make the wrong decision for them to kind of show how precarious the SDF-1's positioning is. You know, he can't make the right calls because then you never really find out that the SDF-1 is not ready for prime time. You know, I like the idea that in this episode, and so let me finish my thought there. In that respect, I can't blame Global for plot devices that are being used by the writers. That was my bad, you know? And I really, really enjoy Global. In fact, Global and the bridge crew are probably my favorite characters. I really like them. We got to see a lot more of like Sammy and Kim and Vanessa today, which was really cool because I like to see them like the crosstalk as they're up. That's one of my favorite things, you know, where it actually seems like a living ship, where you have people talking back and forth with different departments, kind of relaying information from about the ship. That's really cool. We didn't see too much of that today because they were focused on the pinpoint system, the pinpoint defense system, which I thought was pretty cool. A really interesting new kind of weapon or defense technology to use. Really interesting. I like the idea that there's been 2 months since the events at Macross Island, because using those time jumps like that enables the writers to kind of start smoothing over these rough edges that the SDF-1 has. You know, they've got the main gun working. Dr. Lang, thank God, has been figuring out some of these things. Now, of course, you know, with the pinpoint system for the defense came into play, drew too much power and siphoned it away or prevented it, blocked it from reaching the main gun, thus another problem that needs to be worked through. But we get to see that the SDF-1 is growing. The city inside's been rebuilt. You know, the population inside seems to be, you know, like it's a normal normal day, inside the belly of the SDF-1, which is really cool. And it shows the resiliency of the civilians, most of all, to be honest. And the crew is really coming along, just as Rick is training with that little kind of montage we saw at the beginning, and training and getting better at being a Veritech fighter pilot. The rest of the crew, can be assumed that they too are working on the specifics, things that they probably would have done in, the maiden voyage to suss out all the problems. They're kind of getting into it now. And I like that. And I like the time jump without having, too much explanation. There really wasn't that much that occurred during those 2 months other than the kind of like redeployment of the tech and the forces and the, making sure that everything, all the assets that Global has in play, and the crew has in play really, because the bridge crew, I mean, Lisa showed her chops ridiculously well in this episode. So you got to say the command is really, their game stepped up in those 2 months. And I'm not saying, again, where I jumped on them before about making terrible decisions that had like, catastrophic collateral damage, most notably with the transformation of the ship for the main gun to be able to be used. So it would, close the distance and they would have enough conduit and all that stuff. I mean, it was really interesting way of forcing them to transform, in a realistic way, really. We don't have enough conduit. We got to move this portion of the SDF-1 closer to this portion. The only way to do that was transform. So that was interesting, and that was really like a solid kind of snafu to have. And then, but it resulted in I can assume a lot of loss of life from the civilian population, and of course, again, a rendering of destruction across the town. But with all of that, with the advancement, we're able to see the bridge crew especially have it very much seemed to me that they had more of a grasp on both the situation and the assets in play that they had. And they were able to put those forward to create a very good plan. Hide the SDF-1 in the rings of Saturn, send in a smaller force to kind of, falsely engage. And if it had worked, if they had been able to come out of the rings and, wreck shit with that main gun, it would have been over like that. And it would have been a huge victory as opposed to a very, costly one. And the reason I say it was costly is because, we had relayed information coming in that so many of the Veritech flight wings were completely wiped out, with, Skull being the sole exception, as far as losses were concerned. And so, they do, regardless of like, I joke about, hey, where'd these dresses come from? Or, where are they shopping? That this is a cartoon, so they have to be able to show certain things like that instead of, or be encased in so much realism that it would bog the entire story down. But, they have to have a finite number of Veritechs and pilots. I often think of like Battlestar Galactica, the reboot, whenever they were kind of escaping colonial space and they lost so many, pilots, they had to be able to fill these seats. And so they kind of conscripted throughout the civilian fleet and then found people that could fly. I can only assume that that would be similar with the SDF-1. I mean, Rick was folded in. He's not an official Veritech pilot, and he was thrown behind the stick on one of those, albeit after 2 months. And he did, of course, was an experienced pilot. But my point being, you have a point? Yes, I do. My point being is that this type of situation allows both, you get to see multi-front growth, the bridge crew growth, the growth of the SDF-1, through Dr. Lang's kind of improvements, the growth of the city and the civilians, the growth of Rick. Rick even ends the episode by saying, that kind of like freeze frame snapshot montage where he says, I can feel that, I'm changing. And that's a really kind of I often kind of forget how profound this cartoon is. And I use cartoon and anime interchangeably because I'm old. But, whenever I was growing up and this show was on, my best buddy loved it because it was so grown up. And it really is, it shows, of course, some of the lines and everything are a bit cheesy at times, but the overall story is very, very weighty. Death is here, and we will show you that it is here. You have a change in the main character where he's introspective, and he's like, "This war's changing everybody." That's a really profound statement to make to a vehicle or a medium or, this episode that is geared toward the young. War changes people. Okay. If I'd been a kid and heard that, I'd have been like, damn. And so I think it's very important to remember the audience and that these themes that are being discussed are very mature. Very mature, especially like, excuse me, do you have any lingerie? Yes, right this way. I mean, and then poor Rick gets, kink shamed for being in the wrong place at the wrong time or right place at the wrong time. Who knows? But I really like that to my point with that. I liked having the bridge crew off the bridge. I liked having them kind of, that's the first time I think we've seen them in the same air as Rick. They've been, at least has talked to him, over the comms and stuff, but that was the first time they've been in like actual physical proximity, which was really, really cool. I like this. It showed that Global had a great idea that would have worked had not been for a tech issue. And it showed Lisa's ability to, improvise. Can we move the pinpoint system to the front of Daedalus? That's fantastic. What a great on the fly move. And the great thing about it is 2 months removed, whenever they were still kind of testing out the SDF-1, they didn't have the pinpoint. They wouldn't have been able to come up with that idea, and it might have cost them, as we've seen. But with this, we're able to see them grow and get ready and be maybe a match potentially for the Zentradi whenever they do go toe-to-toe with Bretai at some point. And so, and again, I mentioned, going toe-to-toe with the Zentradi. There is a very real effort being made by the writers here to really, for lack of a better word, humanize the Zentradi. Whenever Rick kind of broke into the hangar bay and that Zentradi pilot was presumably getting ready to jump into a pod and they are face to face, the Zentradi looked terrified and he looked like us. You know what I mean? He wasn't like a lizard and he wasn't like and I think that's the biggest play here is that you're staring into a very familiar face. And to look at that, and then gun somebody down like that, it has to be a kid. I mean, it's taking a life no matter what, but it's not something that you could compartmentalize. Like, oh, this is an alien. If you're looking into a face of, a humanoid that looks like every other face that you've seen, or, similar, that makes it even more difficult. And, the Zentradi haven't done anything other than try to retake the SDF-1. Of course, yes, they've attacked. I think the Zentradi's biggest mistake is they didn't try diplomacy. They didn't try, just showing up and maybe talking and saying, hey, that's ours, or we need that, or what can we do here to work something out? And they just attacked. That lends itself to a type of kind of like empirical aggression that they may, exhibit depending upon whatever their political or military structure is. But it doesn't mean that they're evil. It doesn't. And they have not acted. And the writers are really going out of their way to have those moments, where you really question it. And again, I think of the age of the audience that they were targeting. Boy, oh boy, if you're a kid watching this and you're like, oh, Rick, go ahead and shoot him. And then you realize the Zentradi's scared, that has to stop, whenever you're used to just seeing the heroes gun down people, not necessarily kill them in North American cartoons, but, win, yay, we fight and we win. Not with this. This requires more than just brute strength. And there's questions that are being asked of the audience. And I love that. My friends, I think that's all for now. If you could do me a favor, hit that like button, smash the subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. You'll be alerted the next time we go live with Robotech, any of our Saturday morning React-TOONS, Star Trek, all of our sci-fi stuff. And my friends, if you'd like any of that stuff early, join us over on Patreon. The link is in the description. There you'll find full-length offerings of all of our offerings and additional episodes too, and some Patreon exclusives. But that's then and this is now, my friends. And right now, we have to say goodbye from the bridge of the SDF-1, where there should be some celebrating, because even though there was a loss of life, this has to be perceived as a moral victory, especially for Lisa and Global. They did a hell of a job up there. So, my friends, until next we meet, Vulcan roll, and I'll see you.